Alright guys, welcome to the Hidden Gym Expert Breakdown. This is a new video series that we're trying to start here, bringing you guys current events, things happening in the industry, in media, bringing in subject matter experts and breaking it down for you guys. So today, I'm super excited. Just about a week and a half ago, Hafthor Bjornsson did the heaviest deadlift of all time, 501 kilograms, 1,104 pounds, absolutely crazy. So I called up my buddy Sean. Sean and I have been friends, man, going on a decade, 3 gyms. Now he's here at Hidden Gym to talk about the video. Thanks for coming, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Sean is definitely an expert. He's been competing in multiple federations for over 20 years. He's got 3 APF national championships, 2 WPC national championships. He's got a squat and a total record for the 242 Masters 1 division.
That's correct.
And elite totals in both raw and equipped. So certainly subject matter expert.
Thank you.
Cool, well let's get into it. The deadlift happened on May 2nd. This was a big deal because Thor was beating Eddie Hall's previous record of a 500 kilogram deadlift or 1,102 pounds, so he upped him by 2 pounds. That did cause a little beef between Eddie and Thor.
Still counts.
Hey, it does way more. That's what I love about powerlifting. So
That's why they have the quarter-pound record breaker chips.
Yeah, just magnet chips on there. Cool. Well, let's get into the video. We're gonna roll the video here. You guys will be able to watch it as we go along, and Sean's gonna break this thing down for you guys. So let's start here with the psych up process.
Yeah, he's getting ready here. He's got his handler with him, chalking up, getting his straps ready. This guy is probably telling him a bunch of things to piss him off, get him fired up. Hands him the ammonia, that's straight to the brain, and then using some trigger point techniques to get his nervous system going. Give him a slap on the shoulder, like the slap on the back here in the US. Right here, all doubt is gone. He's committed to the lift, and he's trying to get some air back in his body and just take it down a notch. No mistakes.
Come on, Thor.
Kind of misses the strap here and still doesn't get rattled. Gets right in there. What I like here is I see him picking his toes up. So he knows he needs to get back on his heels and be in perfect position for a lift like this. All doubt's gone. Sees it in his mind one more time. He's watching elongate as it falls into this. Low back's arched, upper back rounded, and there it goes. Slides right into it. Easy lift.
Incredible, man. Heaviest deadlift ever recorded. So he did this at a body weight of 425 pounds. Let's just talk about the physical feat. How significant is this as a feat of strength?
It's the heaviest ever lifted. There's that. Some might want to argue, he did it at his gym, but I'm sorry. To me, it's way easier to lift in the competition than it is in your own gym. So there's that.
All right, so you mentioned performing the lift in the gym versus in competition is a disadvantage, actually. Elaborate.
That's an opinion of mine, but you don't see Olympians performing their best performance on the track or skiing or whatever. They do it on competition day. And all your training should be geared towards that moment. So when I think about what my lifts are like in the gym compared to a meet, they're way off. I plan to peak and have it all happen at that time. Plus, when you go to a competition, it's like stepping into the arena. You're a gladiator. You're there, you do war. When there's nobody around and you're by yourself and you got all eyes on you and to try to pull, a lift like this in the gym, to me, that just seems harder than it would be in competition.
And he's obviously got a camera on him, knowing that millions of people are going to watch this lift, but that energy is not coming through the lens. Just much like any sporting event, like you said, with the crowd and the guy that you're trying to beat watching you live, that brings a different animal out.
Sure, he was up for the challenge. He made it happen. He's probably got some good handlers there that were being his squad for him. Not having a competition around and having to get that far inside yourself to perform this, that really says something to me about his fortitude and character.
And just to mention on the guy's body, like me as a trainer and bodybuilder, I'm always notice the different shapes and sizes that these guys approach different competitions. And he is by no means like a trim guy. He's obviously gigantic, but in a strongman standard, we used to see these guys come in very bulky. Now they're coming in with a tighter look. I mean, he's got almost a bodybuilding frame. When you look at this video, he's got a small waist, big quads, big shoulders. He looks like a giant bodybuilder. And as you're going to get into when we really break down the lift, I think that's hate to say smaller, tighter body helps him to get in the right position, and is part of why he's breaking the record.
It's that's the thing that when I first saw this video, I was like, wow, that's incredible. A man that size can get in such a great starting position.
So let's go back to him getting psyched up. Tell us a little bit about the strategy here and what you see, how you can overdo it or underdo it.
Oh, from my experience, your super elite lifters will get psyched like to where you're out of your mind with rage, and then bring it down a notch. So you've triggered your nervous system, you've triggered everything in you that can push you to do the lift, but you're not out of control. At that point, you're out of control, but you just step back half a step from it, everything's elevated, and you're on this mission where there's no, oh, I'm gonna miss it. You have a few cues you're gonna think about, but essentially the lift's already done, you just gotta make it happen.
All right, so this isn't the first lift he did. Obviously, he didn't walk into the gym and pull the heaviest deadlift ever. He had an opening attempt at 925, a second attempt at 1025, and then he pulled the record at 1104. So what's the strategy there?
I'd be guessing during his warm-ups, he may have started a couple at 315 maybe, and then whatever he's using his kilo increments, then maybe to 600 and then 700. But generally, on a competition day, he didn't do the two lifts before. I'm familiar with powerlifting, not the strongman aspect of it, but you only want to take maybe 3 or 4 warm-ups. That seems to work best. You're not fatiguing yourself. And he's going to probably do a lot more active warm-up and then just hit a few quick ones to get his nervous system going. Then I've noticed the percentages. It's just a little over 80, a little over 90, and 100. So, and even the jumps are the same. That's a plan.
Yeah.
Always better to have a plan than no plan.
And for those of you guys that are trying to pull a max lift, you don't walk up cold and see what you got. You work up to it, and you don't take too big of jumps. I mean, he's jumping 10% at a time, which at 1,100 pounds might take you a minute to get there.
And also, don't wear yourself out on your warm-ups. That's just what they are. They're to get you warm. You're not going to impress anyone pulling 20 reps and then missing your big lift.
So he's sniffing this ammonia bottle. What's going on there?
It throws your parasympathetic nervous system into overdrive, pretty much like if they were to jumpstart your heart. And you go blind, you can't see. It's super intense, but it's like someone giving you a good slap, wake you up.
I gave a young kid some ammonia for the first time. He was really wanting to try it at my first gym at Metroflex, and he was on the deadlift court, and he took a big whiff of it and fell over backwards. And I'll never forget. He goes, "Oh my God, I feel like I got hit by a ninja." It was like the most random comment, but it was super funny because you can get too much of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get that nose torque bottle when you first open them. You just push it by your nose. It's plenty, but it'll wake you up. Like literally like getting slapped really hard, snap you out of it. All the negative thoughts are gone.
So you see him, he's getting psyched up. You kind of broke down what was happening there. And now as he walks up to the platform, this is the part where you said he's bringing it down a notch and he's focusing more.
He's looking, you notice he's got some kind of, I don't know if he's got a suit on underneath, but he'll adjust the straps. So he's really pretty much doing a gut check. Okay, am I missing anything? A belt? Okay, that's good. See, there's the straps. We're good there. Go time. And right now, time has slowed way down for him. It may seem like he did this pretty quickly, but it probably felt like a year in his head. Gets strapped.
So he's getting the straps on. You notice that he missed the
he
strap
kind of
a
missed
little
that,
bit.
and he didn't freak out. He's
Because something that small with this much on the line
throw you off. So that tells you his focus. He's not letting anything rattle him. He's like, okay, that's not a big deal. What's a big deal is how he starts the lift, and he knows that.
All right, so he's strapped in.
See the toes come up right there? He's picking his toes up. And I see people that get forward in their deadlifts all the time, and I say, just when you go to the bar, pick your toes up. Just remember that. And they're like, wow, that really worked. No, you see the guy setting the all-time record, and he's doing the same thing. It's a simple technique, but very effective.
And one thing I'll comment, and you and I have deadlifted together a few times, and this is something that you had instructed me on. He's strapping in and preparing for the lift with his hips up, legs straight, and that's on purpose.
That's on purpose. He could squat down or get on his knees, whatever, but if you're, see, this is another thing. Look at his mobility. Look at the hamstring mobility right there. He's flat-footed, bent over, straight-legged. And when you bend into the hamstrings for more than a second and a half or 2 seconds, you're going to destroy the stretch reflex. Because this lift that has no load, like whereas a squat or a bench press, you've got a load, a compression, there's no eccentric phase of it. So the more rebound he can get, that's what he's doing that for, so he doesn't destroy his stretch reflex.
So legs straight all the way until, and then and this is something I noticed right away watching the video, he rolls the bar into him a bit before he starts. What's the strategy there?
It's out far in front of him. He can probably elongate his body more, and he's stretching those hamstrings, getting ready to explode into him. He's getting in position. When he rolls it back, that's going to create momentum coming back. But more than that, what I noticed is as it's coming back towards him, he levers himself into the right position. He lowers way down, and we'll go into that right now where he's pulling it in. See him lowering right there? So he hits that bottom spot. The bar's coming in, and right now, upper back is tight, but his arms are long, lats are long, pushed down, low back is arched. And as soon as he pulls into that arch, his glutes are gonna go, and he's gonna squat straight up with it.
And this is an extremely impressive position. I only weigh 200 pounds, and I have trouble getting in that position. This guy's me times 2 and some change. And he's in that position. And then one thing I know that we talked about was, it's a myth or a common belief that this is a more difficult lift for someone that's taller. This guy's 6'9". Is that a disadvantage?
My experience in the meets that I've been to, even deadlift only meets, you've always got these tall freak ogre guys that pull hellacious deadlifts, and they all pull conventional, which is even further than sumo, and it's the way it is. I don't think there's necessarily any advantage to being tall or short pulling conventional. I think it's more of body mass and leverages. The sumo position favors smaller lifters, but the big guys, like I said, I see these tall ogre guys that are well over 6 foot, pull huge deadlifts all the time.
All right, so he nails that position perfectly, and now it's time to rip this baby off the ground. It comes up fast.
Yep.
And then talk about what happens mid-lift, where some people might say he hitched it a little bit.
Yeah, well, generally when you hitch, it's going to bounce. You're going to notice the bar stop and hit and press on his legs. This, in my opinion, is efficiency. The first time I saw a guy do this at a powerlifting meet, I was like, it just looked weird to me because I was watching from the side and I watched his legs go under it. But the bar is still moving in an upward motion. He's not supporting it. He's pulling himself under it. If you watch the bar, it never stops moving. So that, to me, is just ultra efficiency. And he's right where he needs to be able to do that, to finish it.
And that's, then he locks it out solid. And he's obviously strapped in, which, in the sport of powerlifting isn't allowed. But to move the weight, that's what these guys are doing. So, all right. Then one significant piece to this equation, especially for those of you guys that do a lot of lifting, is he pulled this lift on a deadlift bar. We have people all the time that ask us what's the difference, or they don't know the difference because we find the deadlift bar on the squat rack. But tell us, what's the significance of pulling this with a deadlift bar?
The tensile strengths are a lot different. So a deadlift bar is much more pliable, and it's also smaller in diameter, by 1/8 of an inch, 6 inches longer in between the sleeves. And if you want to find out the difference, try doing a bench press with the deadlift bar or a squat. I was at a meet one time when they put the deadlift bar in the squat rack, and I walked it out and was like, what is wrong with me? And I said, hey, this is the deadlift bar. So it's very noticeable, but when you're pulling a deadlift, this is an advantage, because instead of having the stiff bar that's like almost glued to the floor, it starts to bend, and so it allows you to get in a better starting position and sort of unload the bar, and it's made to deadlift more.
So as the bar bends up, the bar's gonna be higher when you take it off the ground.
And the more weight you add to it, the higher it's gonna get.
Yeah, because it'll bend more.
The plates also make a difference too. When they're loaded way out like that, it doesn't load as abruptly, so that helps also.
Pretty impressive lift, man.
Yeah, outstanding. Somebody told me, hey, the guy pulled a new deadlift world record. I'm thinking, yeah. I remember the first time a guy squatted 1,100. Everybody said, well, you know why he did it? Because nobody told him he couldn't. So now that we're in the 1,100s, what's next? We're going to see a 1,200 one day?
Yeah. Awesome, Sean. Anything you want to add?
I was at the WPC Worlds in upstate New York when Andy Bolton pulled 1,000 pounds in a powerlifting competition, and it's amazing. Now we're 100 pounds over that. I mean, I know it's not the same lift, but some big time lifts. I'm just happy to have been around and seen some of this stuff.
Yeah, so for those of you in the gym that have been inspired by this, it certainly shows you what is possible out there. The deadlift is one of the most telling feats of strength that you can do. And this was certainly impressive. So I hope you guys like this expert breakdown. Sean, thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you guys leave any questions that you have in the comments or things that you want to address in this new expert breakdown series. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
We think to turn that power over, right? We're gonna break it down from start to finish.
Okay, so we just, Sean and I just finished breaking down the heaviest deadlift ever reported in human history, over 1,100 pounds. This caused a little bit of beef because it was 1,104 pounds to be exact. The guy that he beat lifted 1,102 pounds. So he one-upped him by 2 pounds. It took 3 years to do it, but he did it. And there's a lot of shit talking going on to the point that these guys have agreed to fight each other.
That's hilarious.
So you've got Thor, who's probably most well known for being the Mountain in Game of Thrones. 6'9", 425 pounds, fighting Eddie Hall. What do you guys think? The heaviest boxing match of all time is what they're calling it.
Super heavyweight, right?
Yeah, how much is the guy that's 6'5", the shorter guy, not Thor? How much is he weigh, or how tall is he exactly?
I think he's 6'2", and he's in the high 300s. I'm assuming there'll be different body types when they get to the fight, but
They're gonna have to lean out a little bit so they don't exhaust themselves in the first 30 seconds of the fight. But these guys carry so much power. If they learn how to turn over their punches, they're gonna, cause some damage.
I was watching Thor on the bits, on the video he showed me, and he had his left hand pretty low. And I was like, look, if that little guy, shorter guy, dip and come with an overhand right, he's out. So the key for those guys is who can take a punch and who have the best cardio, because skill's not gonna take them far because they not boxing. So this type of fight,
there's not a lot of skill.
yeah, there's not a lot of skills.
skill involved.
You'll be straight knocked out. So the key is for them two is who train the hardest cardio wise. So that's what's gonna be successful in Thor. If he learn how to keep his distance, it's gonna be an easy night for him. But if he drop his hands just a little bit, the shorter guy, what's his name again?
Eddie Hall.
Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
All he got to do is dip and throw overhand right. So whoever his trainer is, teach him how to throw an overhand right when he's fighting somebody 6'9".
I think it all comes down to who believes they can win and who pulls the trigger. Because they're both going to be nervous when they get in
Nervous,
there.
no
There's
matter-
going to be a lot of eyes on them.
And they hate each other.
Yeah.
Which always adds to it.
Range, I think, whoever's in the other one's head and whoever goes first is going to be the one to
Exactly. And who could take a punch? Because those are strong dudes.
It's going to
Yeah.
be quick. It's going to be quick.
Okay,
It's not gonna last.
they're looking for a fast fight.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen with those big guys.
All right, there you have it from professional boxer, professional UFC fighter. Some quick commentary on the heaviest boxing match of all time. Appreciate you guys.
Most definitely, man.